What if Rimuru went to the classroom of the elite? By SIL for '07. Chapter 4, Exposed. Rimuru POV. A week has gone by now since the club fair, and I have met a few new faces in class since then. The headphones I bought have been quite useful for days I do not want to do anything, but unfortunately, Arisu always uses her cane now to wake me up. My right foot is in a lot of pain right now from the constant bashing of her cane while Morishita-san just keeps snickering at me while watching. I get up out of bed finally around 6 o'clock in the morning and take a shower. Sometimes I do participate in class, but it is not like I can learn anything new from the lesson anyway. "Sile, can you go make breakfast for me?" I said out loud while the water was running down me. Sile pops out and looks at me across the room. "It shall be done, master." Recently, Sile has been very silent with me and has been pulling pranks, like putting me in sleep mode in class and turning off my alarm to the point where I am almost late. I wonder if she is jealous of someone. Wait, I remember on the night of the first day of school, she did not answer my question about her being jealous of Arisu. I smirked internally at the thought of having a little fun with Sile this morning. If she wants to play games with me, then why shouldn't I be able to do the same? "Sile, wait," I said out loud. She was opening the door, but once I called her, she turned around and looked at me with her eyes. "What is it?" she replied. My lips started to widen, knowing what is about to happen next. "How about you come in here with me?" While walking to the school building, I have noticed more stairs than usual. I do not know why, but day by day it seems I get more and more popular around the school. My life here only gets harder because of that, but right now it is manageable. Over the last week, my class has been forming into a full-blown faction war, with one faction being the Sakayanaji faction led by Arisu, with half the class in it, and the Katsuragi faction, with the other half in it as well, excluding me. These two factions now are trying to gain influence over each other, and the first step is to subjugate me, Rimuru Nova. As of this day, I hold just as much influence as the faction leaders. On the first day of school, I announced I would not follow or be under anyone in the school. I still stand by what I said. I get to the door of my classroom and open it with my headphones in hand. Everyone in the class started to stare at me, including Katsuragi and Arisu. These faction wars are starting to get annoying. I do not need this type of attention first thing in the morning, even though today was a bit different. I walked to my seat and sat down. I was about to put my headphones on before Morishita-san stopped me from doing so. I frowned at this action, but I wondered if she had a good reason for it. She joined Arisu's faction, but she is also someone Arisu cannot control. She is a very inconspicuous person and is not very well known by others besides me and Arisu. She is not a normal person at all either, but I will not pry to find information on her abilities. "Why did you stop me?" "Later, I want to show you something I found. You might like it, and I stopped you to save you." She whispered the last part to me. "Look to your right, Rimuru-san." I listened to what she said and looked to my right to see Arisu staring at me with a smile that does not reach her face while holding her cane in her hands. I shivered at this sight and turned back to Morishita again to answer her first question. "Sure, I will go with you later." She turns back around to her desk. After she does that, I pick up my headphones and start playing music to get through this boring class. While sitting in class, I start to go over the faction war and who is in it. First, starting with Arisu's faction, we have this guy with blonde hair and a ponytail named Masayoshi Hashimoto. He is very good at stealth-type tasks and has decent physical abilities. Next, we have Masumi Komuro, who is the arms and legs of Arisu. I do not know much about her, and the same applies to Ari Morishita. Eventually, all this thinking gets me really tired. I lay my arms out to rest my head down. I already know my punishment for sleeping in class, but Sile acting like that earlier drained me completely, so I need this. I plop my head on my arms, knowing the positives outweigh the negatives in my mind, and drift off to sleep. I feel someone tapping my head right now. I do not know what time it is at all either. I open my eyes, look up, and see Morishita looking at me. I take a look around the classroom and see everyone is gone. Our class is already over? I asked, and she nodded. How do you get Arisu to not stomp my foot with her cane? I said while getting up. I remember now, Morishita asked me to go somewhere with her. I should go check on Sile, but knowing her, she probably already woke up. You should be thankful, because she was going to have a field day on your foot again if I had not stepped in. Anyways, are you ready to get going? She said. Yeah, let us get going. We have been walking for over 20 minutes to get to this spot. I hope it is worth my time. We finally arrive at a big tree. Are you serious right now? I cannot believe I spent 20 minutes of my time just walking toward a big tree, though it could be a peaceful spot to relax. Morishita decides to put her hand on the tree and close her eyes. What on earth is she doing? What are you doing, Morishita-san? I asked, questioning if she is all right in the head. I am listening to the voice of the forest through my hand. Come here, Rimuru-san, and try it too, she replied. Voice of the forest? Did she lose her marbles or what? Wait, it is not out of the realm of possibility for something like this to happen, because this world has a small amount of magicules in the air, though not enough to make big changes. Maybe this tree mutated into a being that can talk to others by touching or connecting to it. Sile, are you here? Yes, I am here, Master. What do you need? Can you analyze this tree quickly? It is not out of the realm of possibility for there to be a mutation. After analyzing the tree, I can confirm there is something special about this tree, Master. Please put your hand on it for further analysis. I see, so there is something special about this tree. I start to move close to the tree, put my hand on it, and close my eyes to try to connect with it. I do not feel any voice at all. You just need to try harder. Lose all your emotions and just try to zone in on hearing the voice in the tree, she said, trying to give me advice. I listen to her advice and try harder, but to no avail. Wait, why are they both laughing? Don't tell me they are lying to me. I open my eyes and look to my right to see Morishita recording me looking ridiculous. I cannot believe I fell for this. Give me your phone and let me delete that, I said while making the gesture for her to hand it over. No way. I am keeping this video. This is a once-in-a-lifetime video pranking Rimuru Nova herself, she said. Damn it, I cannot believe I let this happen. Sile played around with me by saying it had something special to it, but she ended up lying and pranking me again. It seems she has not learned her lesson yet. Morishita-san, did you do this because Arisu told you to, or not? I asked while trying to analyze her for any shift in demeanor. Her eyes widened just a little bit, but went back to normal once she put her phone away. Yes and no. Yes and no? What does that mean? Sakayanaji-san asked me to find a way to reveal yourself to the school, since you have been trying to lay low and because you continue to sleep in class. Great, so Arisu is trying to make my life harder because I will not pay attention in class. But I wanted to mess around with you as well, so I did this because I wanted to. Have fun, Rimuru-san, she said while walking away and waving at me. This is what you get, Master, for pushing me to the limit. Sile said teasingly. I start walking to my dorm. It seems my life is going to get a lot harder here. If Morishita decides to post that video of me being an idiot, people are going to know I go to this school. I always knew that eventually my identity would reach the whole student body, but I wanted to live in peace for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, that was ruined by Morishita and Sile. I arrive at my dorm room and open the door to see Sile in a white shirt making dinner. I enter, put my stuff down, and take a shower while she is cooking. After finishing blow drying my hair, I got out of the bathroom and put on some casual clothes to walk around in. In the kitchen, Sile is about to finish cooking, so I just take a seat next to the table and wait for her to finish. Sile finishes making food, puts it down on the table, and eats with me. After we finish eating, I go to wash my hands and Sile goes to clean the dishes. As of this moment, Sile is at her most vulnerable, so why not get a little bit of payback? My phone goes off. I look up to check what is going on and see a message from Arisu saying, "You should check the school page, Rimuru-san." Oh no, don't tell me. I go to the school page and scroll a bit to see a video that is gaining views called Pranking Rimuru Nova on the page, with a lot of comments. Morishita actually posted the video. I put my phone away to deal with the video problem later, walk behind Sile, and wrap my arms around her. She jolted a bit from this gesture as I leaned on her shoulder. Chapter 5 of Arisu's Resolve. 2 weeks have now passed since the start of school, and many things have changed for me. About a week ago, I was recorded getting pranked by my classmate, which has unfortunately pushed me out into the spotlight. Ever since that video was posted, I cannot walk out of my dorm without being recognized as the girl from that video, or as the one from 5 years ago. Arisu really pulled a fast one on me. I am sitting in my dorm now making food for dinner while waiting for a guest to show up. Sile has been very tame since the night she got her payback. I finished making dinner, put on some normal clothes, and walked over to open the door for my guest. I open the door to see a petite girl with a cane on her side that sends shivers to all who get hit by it. "Hey, Arisu-san, come on in. I am about to set the food down on the table." "Hey, Rimuru-san," Arisu said as she walked to the table and took a seat. I put her food down on the table and slid it over to her while I put my plate down so I could eat as well. For the past 2 weeks, I have had my right foot slammed down by her cane for not paying attention in class, which has started to become a problem to her since she knows we are being tested on behavior. That is why she is giving me a smile that screams for me to run. "You know, we could have gone out to eat instead of eating in your room, Rimuru-san, or did you have ulterior motives asking me to come to your dorm?" Here we go again. "Of course not, you are imagining things." "I am not so evil," I said while smirking. When I said that, I saw a mark of annoyance appear on her forehead. Uh-oh, I might have made her mad. "Are you trying to imply I am evil, Rimuru-san?" "Of course not. I am merely implying that I am not evil. Let us get to the topic at hand here, the reason why I called you," I said, trying to bring the conversation back to what it was supposed to be. "Why did you make Morishita-san take a video of me and post it to the whole school?" I asked with a bit of force, implying I wanted a real answer. "Fufu, whatever do you mean, Rimuru-san?" "She did that of her own will." "Do not lie to me, Arisu-san." I asked her and she said you ordered her to do it, even though she was already going to do it of her own free will, I said back. "Fine, I did that to increase your influence throughout the school. And now you have become a popular and powerful figure, even more than you already were," she said. "She did it to increase my influence? But why?" "She did that to ward off the Katsuragi faction from trying to recruit you. Since she has already established a connection with you by being friends, she holds more influence by connection than Katsuragi, therefore being able to take hold of the class. She is quite cunning, building such a plan." "Thanks, Sile. It is just as they say, fly too close to the sun and you will get burned, or in this case, suffocated," she said smugly. "The faction war again, huh? It is starting to become annoying. But not only that, it will become a hindrance to our class since other classes are starting to form with their own leaders taking center stage," I said. "Fufu, Rimuru-san, you have noticed that as well." "Yes, the other classes have started to form. Class B has someone named Hanami Akinos leading them. She has a personality that can draw anyone in and likes to be friendly with everyone she meets. Doesn't that just make her vulnerable to attacks from other classes? That friendliness will kill her class if she is not careful. Does she have anything to do, though, with the stalkers that have been roaming around the school following important people?" While walking around Kiyaki Mall trying to get groceries, I noticed 2 people stalking me in the background, a guy with short greenish hair who looked like a delinquent, and a girl with blue hair with a face that says "stay away from me." If she always looks like that, I wonder how she can get along with her class. When I exited to go to the supermarket down the street, I could see them following me there. Once I entered, they entered 5 minutes later. I grabbed the instant ramen I was looking for and head toward the cashier. I only eat instant ramen when I am lazy and do not want to make food for myself. After walking out toward the dorms, I went toward the park where I sat down on my usual bench with my stuff in hand. I put my headphones on and closed my eyes with my music blasting. I, of course, turned on universal detect as well to see where the stalkers were, and saw them hiding close by. I wonder how long they will sit there. After about 10 minutes, the stalkers started looking at each other, probably communicating to leave. But to my surprise, the girl started to move toward me while the guy left. Interesting. She moved out and started to walk closer to me, acting like she was not stalking me a few seconds ago. Quite audacious, if I say so myself. She walks toward me, takes a seat on my bench next to me, and takes out a juice box. What on earth is she doing? What are you doing here, stalker girl? I said while taking off my headphones and turning off the music. She turns to me with that same stern face I saw earlier. I do not know what you are talking about. I show her a picture of her looking at me in the mall, taken an hour ago with my phone. Her eyes widened, probably because she did not see me take it since she was so focused on me. There is always an upperclassman who likes to sit here at this time, so I am going to head out now. See you later, Stalker-chan, or should I say Mayo Ibuki? I said playfully to her. She froze once I said her name. She starts patting down her pockets to find her phone. She looks up at me again to see her phone with my contact open in my hand. Looking for something? I said to her. I set her phone down on the bench and start to walk away. My plan to get people's numbers by sneakily grabbing their phones through their blind spots worked again. Master is such a child. Did you say something, Sile? It is just your imagination. No, it was not. I heard you sigh at me. HMPH. I look back to see the stalker girl still sitting in place on the bench, frozen from what just happened. I mean, she left herself open, so I do not know why she is so shocked, but whatever. No, Class B is a class that will not use underhanded tactics to win. The people who have been stalking others are from Class C, Arisu said. Class B's weakness is definitely that mentality of being friendly to all and an unwillingness to do anything to win. Class C, however, is not afraid to do things classified as underhanded. Class C is the real threat right now. Wait, I am forgetting a class. What about Class D? Is there class forming right now? I ask her. Knowing Arisu, she probably has someone spying on each class using the members of her faction to gather information. No, their class is a complete mess, worse than you. Ouch, you wound my soul, Arisu. Are you trying to imply that I would fit in with that class of defects? I say to her. Defects can be used and evolved into superior products, like a pawn reaching the end of the chessboard and becoming a superior piece. Those who cannot keep up will eventually fall apart and become trash. The question is, does Arisu know this? If she does, then she will know Class D will be a threat in the future. Maybe you would fit in with those defectives. After all, you are the only one in the class dragging us down, but at the same time, you are the class's greatest weapon. You are defective but superior, Rimuru-san. If you would pay attention and be a good student, I would not have to worry all the time, she says while tapping her finger on my nose. She has gotten better at teasing me. Please do not play with my emotions like that, Arisu-san. Unfortunately, I like what I am doing in class and I want to stick to it. But if we make a deal, I might consider playing the good, rule-abiding student role for you, I say, moving in closer to her. I look down at her plate, which is completely finished, so I pick it up along with mine and go to the dishwasher to clean them. After I finished cleaning, I took a seat next to Arisu on the bed where she had moved. So about that deal of ours, Arisu-san. I said playfully. Arisu POV. It looks like I have made a mistake by falling into Rimuru's trap, where she uses herself to make a deal suitable for herself. This whole time we were talking earlier about classes and other school-related topics, it felt as if I was getting probed by her again. She was testing me like last time. It almost feels like she is marking me as insignificant. In order to stand beside Rimuru, one of if not the smartest person in the school, I need to show her I am able to keep up. Do not tell me you are not ready for the moment, Arisu-san. In order to be a leader, you have to be ready for this, Rimuru said to me while practically clinging to me. Now it is my turn to counterattack. I make my move on Rimuru, which shocks her a bit, an opening I can exploit now. I push through the opening to pin her down using my hands and lock her in place using my body. Fine then, I will give myself up to you, Rimuru. In return, you will be a good, rule-abiding student. I said to her while looking at her face. Her eyes widened at my statement. I have got her now. Third-person POV. Arisu has hit Rimuru with a bombshell of an offer that is hard to give up. Arisu giving herself up to Rimuru sounds like her becoming a pawn, but in reality, that is completely incorrect. Rimuru has grown to have a bit of attachment issues because of her isolation in this world and the cardinal world. She was a human once for 37 years, then a slime for about 30, and then human again for 15. But in those 30 years of being a slime, she never let go of those human emotions she felt. Yes, Rimuru might have figured out she was a monster after the Falmouth invasion, but that never meant she gave away her human side. Arisu figured out Rimuru's small weakness and found a way to exploit it for a win-win situation, since subjugating Rimuru is an impossible task for both factions. But of course, this deal had a trap in it for Rimuru. It was never specified how long this deal would last. Rimuru, who was still in shock, starts to grin. She noticed Arisu's resolve to do anything for the class, even giving herself up in the process while tossing away the pride she held onto. Rimuru finally let go, released the tension in her body, and gave herself up to the relaxation of the mattress. All right then, Arisu-san. I will accept your deal. You win this time, she said while wrapping her arms around her, pulling her in. Arisu was surprised she accepted, even though Rimuru definitely knew it was a trap. It only means that she recognized her resolve in trying to bring the class together. Rimuru already knew this was the girl from the library 5 years ago at the party, but she did not say anything at all. 5 years ago, when Arisu saw Rimuru and Kiyotaka go head-to-head in that chess match where both tied, she was surprised that someone could keep up with the White Room's masterpiece. Knowing that Rimuru was a natural genius, she wanted to be able to stand on an equal footing with the two by being able to surpass the masterpiece or gain acknowledgement from Rimuru Nova herself. When Arisu heard of someone who was able to lead a company at 8 years old, she knew there were others like her out there. Natural genius is far superior to her, which was proven at the party. She saw the arm wrestling match and the chess match, and she knew that if she went against both of them, she would lose. When she saw Rimuru at the bus stop on the first day of school, and saw how she acted toward her, she knew that Rimuru never acknowledged her existence. Rimuru only saw her as someone to play around with until she was able to show off her abilities. That caught her interest, but that is not what Arisu wanted. She wanted to gain acknowledgement from Rimuru herself to prove she could stand at the top with them. Now that she was able to gain that acknowledgement, Rimuru finally started to look at her like she was someone, not just something of minor interest. To Rimuru, she had been waiting for this moment to see what Arisu would do when given the opportunity to exert some control. In Rimuru's eyes, she made the right choice and gave up the useless pride she held against her. Rimuru then flipped herself to the side and sat up while putting her hand on Arisu's head to calm her down. After she calmed down, she got up and grabbed her cane. Well then, Rimuru-san, just call me when you need me, and I will come over, since it is part of our deal now. I will be heading out, Arisu said while walking to the door. Rimuru caught up to her and wrapped her arms around her. Arisu was shocked by the touch, but turned around to look at Rimuru. Rimuru kissed her on the forehead. Rimuru then patted her head, put on some shoes, grabbed her phone and keycard, and walked out of the dorm room. Make sure to close my door after you leave, she said as she walked to the elevator. Arisu stood there, frozen in time, then took a seat on Rimuru's bed to gather her thoughts. I did it. I finally got her to look at me. Ever since that day, this is what I wanted, and I passed her trial. I got her to acknowledge me. But at the end, she kissed my forehead. Rimuru is too bold for her own good. I got her to accept that deal, which finally puts an end to her lazing around in class. I won against her in this battle, but I was never in control at all. She recognized me and gave me her approval, which was the real objective that in the end made me win. Arisu was trying to collect her thoughts while still being a bit flustered by Rimuru. But what is Rimuru doing right now while Arisu is sitting down on the bed? Chapter 6, Approaching. Rimuru POV. My eyes start to flutter open as the light shines into the room. I try to find the clock near my bed to see what time it is. 6:30. I guess I should just get up now. As I try to move, there is a force pulling me down strongly, and I instantly succumb to the feeling, as I just woke up and have not moved much. Even though I am lying down, I can still feel the pressure of this force. I let my vision settle, look to my side, and see a bit of hair coming out from under the covers. I guess I should just pull up the covers then. I end up pulling the covers a bit and see someone peacefully sleeping while holding me close to them like a stuffed animal. Her body is small and light, and her hair has a lilac color to it. It was Arisu holding me down like a stuffed animal. I thought it was Sile because of the freakish strength, but it is actually Arisu. Is she secretly the world's strongest woman or something? I still cannot move at all, and I am too tired from last night to really do anything anyway. I try to move again, but am held down face to face with her. No more running away, little one, Arisu whispered while moving around to snuggle up to me. How did I end up in this situation? Yesterday, after I left the dorm following my talk with Arisu, I went to the library. Once I got there, I ended up going through the shelves to look for curriculum books for the later years to make sure I do not forget anything. I cannot really rely on Sile, since she has been hit or miss recently with her mood. I went with the Japanese history book for the second year and took a seat at a desk. Are you studying? I jumped out of my seat and looked to my left to see a girl with silver hair looking at me with a warm smile. It is like she is an angel. She starts laughing softly at my reaction and looks at me again. Sorry for startling you. I just saw you reading something while I was picking out books to read. I have never seen you around here. Yeah, this is my first time here. I was looking for curriculum books on Japanese history for the second year, I said to her. She looks down at the book, then back at me. It felt awkward. Do you have a name? I asked. It is Hiyori Shirina. What about you? I guess the video has not reached everyone, thank goodness. I am Rimuru Nova. Pleasure. Her eyes widened a bit, but went back to normal, and she brought out her hand. Well then, Nova-san, if you need help around the library, just ask me, Shirina said softly. I shake her hand and stand up. All right then, Shirina-san, I will do that when I come around here, I say as I let go of her hand to put my book back. Then I walk back over to her to say goodbye. Oh, also, please call me Rimuru. Everyone else calls me that already, I said to her. She turned back around and smiled. All right then, Rimuru-san. Call me Hiyori as well. I finally got back to my dorm at 8:30 p.m., inserted the keycard, entered, and closed the door while kicking off my shoes at the entrance. I look around my room, go to the closet to grab new clothes, and run to the shower. Third-person POV. Unbeknownst to Rimuru, someone else had been in the room the entire time, aimlessly watching her run around the room to grab stuff and shower while sitting under the bed covers. Once again, it was Arisu, who never left after Rimuru left because she was still in shock from everything that happened. She waited for her to come home instead of leaving, but ended up falling asleep until she heard the door open. The shower head finally turns off after 10 minutes. Then she sees Rimuru running out, fully dry, wearing shorts and no top out of habit. This gets Arisu flustered, seeing her like this. Rimuru is not elegant at all for a company owner, she looks like someone with too much time on her hands. Do not tell me this is how she is when no one is around. Wait, How has she not noticed me yet? She is sitting at her desk, scrolling through the school page, looking for something. Oh, she found it. It seems to be the video of her getting pranked by Morishita-san. Looks like she is reading the comments while sighing in disappointment, Arisu thought as she watched Rimuru. I cannot believe the video has gotten this big. I did not know I was really a hot topic. I will make sure to get revenge on them next time, Rimuru said, blissfully unaware. Revenge on who? Rimuru jumped up and turned around in shock to see Arisu lying down in her bed. How long have you been there, Arisu-san? Since the moment you got back from your little trip, Arisu said to her. Also, you should put on something. It is shameless. Rimuru gets up from the chair, walks over to the bed, and sits on the side of it. I do not think it matters what I wear in my dorm, unless you are disturbed seeing me like this, of course. Rimuru starts to crawl to her own side of the bed, lies down beside her, and starts to fall asleep. Is this what isolation does to the mind if you do not go out in public for 10 years? I mean, she does not care to dress around me at all, and she acts like a child around anyone. Maybe it is all just a front to hide how she feels about the people around her? There are just too many things to consider when being around Rimuru, Arisu thought. She flipped around to see Rimuru already sleeping soundly, pressing her head into a pillow. Seriously? Rimuru POV. Rimuru is now just remembering what happened last night and is regretting hopping into bed, but she was tired from yesterday and did not have the energy to stay up any longer. I guess I will go back to sleep, she thought as she drifted off. I am currently walking toward the Kiyaki Mall cafe to get something to eat because I got lazy and did not want to make food. Recently, the class tension has risen even more with the formation of Class C and Class B, along with the fact that I am not sleeping in class anymore and am actually paying attention to lessons. We are approaching May 1st, as it is only a few days away on April 28th. The question is what will happen on that day, because I will know if I was right about the system this school uses. I have noticed some movement from a girl in Class D who wants to be everyone's friend. They have told that to people in Class A, and apparently she asked one girl from my class to bring me to the mall so she could get my number, but I refused. If they could not come to me, there was no point in going to them. I start approaching the cafe and enter, where mostly girls are conversing. Suddenly, everyone stops and looks up. Why did they stop? I sit down near a seat at the counter and wait for someone to come over so I can order. Once I sat down, the conversation started back up, but in a lower tone. I could not help but enhance my hearing to hear what they were talking about. Look, it is her, the one from 5 years ago. It is the girl from the tree video. It is very suffocating having her in here right now. I see, so me being here is suffocating? I guess I really am a social reject in any life. You were right, Sile, they cannot handle me being around them. I think you might have it the wrong way, Master. What do you mean, Sile? They think it is suffocating because you are treated like someone noble from a super successful family, meaning they think you are a strict person with an uptight personality. Oh, I see, so I am getting stereotyped because I am from a wealthy family. What a classic. Eventually, the waiter came by the side of the bar where I was sitting, and I asked for some coffee, since I was exhausted today. Sile's antics have become very tiring, because she loves to mess around with me on weekends when nothing is going on. Most of the time on weekends, I just sit in bed and chill or read. Yes, I could go and become friends with the people in my class, but they put me on a higher pedestal, unfortunately. But whatever. While I was drinking coffee, a girl with long black hair came and sat next to me, ordering the same thing. I guess I could try talking to her. Do you want to talk? I said, turning to her with a straight face. She turned her head to me. Wait, why does she look so familiar? That face looks like the student council president's. Oh wait, this must be the prickly girl from Class D, the president's younger sister. Are you sure you have the energy for that? You do not look so good, she said while analyzing my face. Coffee is supposed to help with these types of things, but I have found that it is not very effective for me, I said to her. Then why drink coffee if it is not effective at all? Because I am under the delusion of thinking that this time it will work, even when I know it will not. You are strange, Rimuru Nova. You are nothing like they say you are. You too, Suzune Horikita. They say you cannot converse with anyone, but here you are talking to someone like me, who supposedly has a suffocating presence. Her eyes widened when she heard her name come out of my mouth. I guess she did not think I would know who she was, but I only know her because of gossip from that Class D clique of girls a week back. Did you not think I would know who you are? You have quite the reputation for being prickly around your class. I see. Well, yes, your presence is suffocating, but not in the way they say it is. It is because of the title you uphold. Other pictures were taken of you sleeping in class with headphones on, where you look like a normal girl. I guess that is why I think you are strange. I start to get up, because I can tell this girl is not someone who likes to talk a lot. Well then, I will be heading out now, but let me give you a hint, Horikita-san, watch out for this week, because big changes will be happening, I said to her while leaving the cafe. Horikita-san has the potential to be a strong opponent for the likes of Arisu one day, but she needs someone who can nurture that talent. It is unfortunate that she landed in a class where no one takes anything seriously. So, I guess from here on out, I will help her advance a little, because I am interested to see what she can do. April 30th. I am currently sitting in class, waiting for instructions, until Mashima-sensei finally walks in and puts down his stuff. Today we will be taking a quiz, so get everything off your desk except something to write with. Also, this will not count toward anything, it is just practice. A practice exam on the day before the beginning of the next month. You could not have made it more obvious. I sighed and looked toward Arisu with a smile. She was already staring at me smugly, which told me she knew what I was thinking. We eventually got the test and the go-ahead to start. When I opened the paper, the curriculum was only at a junior high school level. What is this? I continued to go through the test easily until I approached the last few questions, and I was shocked by their difficulty. I am almost sure no one besides a few people in here could answer any of these questions. I ended up answering the last 3 questions, got up to turn in the test, and walked out for the day. Now, what will happen tomorrow is the real question. Chapter 7, What is a defect? Reveal. May 1st, third person POV. The sun has started to rise on the day of reckoning at 6 a.m. Rimuru, who is still sleeping, finally starts to stir awake and sit up from her bed, trying to recognize her surroundings. Sile, can you grab my phone, please, and get me water? Rimuru says. This is her routine when she gets up, minus the phone part, since today is May 1st. Of course, Sile materializes in front of her and grabs the requested items, tossing the phone into her lap. Rimuru turns it on and goes to the points app. Last night, Rimuru had just about 64,000 points because of her coffee addiction. Now she has 156,000 points, meaning Class A gained 92,000 points this month. Sile placed the water on Rimuru's nightstand and sat on the bed behind her, wrapping her arms around the blue-haired girl and resting her head on her shoulder to see the phone. What do you think, Sile? Underwhelming or just right? Rimuru asked. I thought it would be a lot less, Master, because of your childish behavior, but I digress, she said, pointing out her flaws. Do you think things will get fun from here on out? I mean, after the reveal to all the classes. Rimuru is more or less interested in the prickly girl from Class D, since she can see potential in her already. Sile sighs, probably knowing what Rimuru is thinking about. You could just say you are interested in the girl from Class D, Master. But things probably will get fun from here on out, assuming that the classes have good leaders. Rimuru goes to the messaging app and starts texting Arisu, asking how many points she got, but Sile takes the phone out of her hands. Sile, do not be difficult with me today. You have been acting up every time you materialize in my dorm, Rimuru points out, to which Sile freezes and reluctantly gives Rimuru's phone back while pouting. She finishes typing the message and sends it, knowing Arisu is not awake yet. She then grabs the cup of water and drinks a bit of it. Master, you need to stop drinking so much coffee every day at the cafe, she says while lying down. Rimuru, who is still sitting up, turns her body to look at her. I know, but it is a nice little routine I have, and I can catch up on information coming from other classes, Rimuru said. Sile did not look convinced at all, simply raising an eyebrow. Nice little routine? You drink 4 to 5 cups of coffee every time you go there. Rimuru freezes, knowing that Sile is right. Rimuru starts to get up from bed and get ready for school, since today is the day she has been waiting for. Sile made food for Rimuru, and after she ate, she sat outside her dorm, looking out from the railing and waiting for Arisu to come out. Rimuru POV. I was still standing outside my dorm and leaning on the railing, waiting for Arisu to come out. Finally, after a while, I heard the door open on the left and turned my head to see her walking out with that usual smug grin on her face. Ready to go, class representative. Fufu, yes I am ready, but do not call me that. We started walking to the elevator to go to school. On our way, I noticed the atmosphere around everyone was filled with confusion, worry, and panic, really tense overall. People could not have lost that many points, right? That is impossible. You can almost feel the energy everyone is giving off. It is pitiful that people could not notice the flaws in that speech, and now they are paying the price, I said, to which Arisu just giggled. Yeah, but Rimuru-san, you are not much better than them. After all, we should have gotten more points than just 92,000, but unfortunately, we have a little troublemaker in our class, she said, lightly tapping her cane against my side. Arisu and I finally got to class, but once we entered, I could feel the tension coming from most of the people who did not know about the system. We took our seats, and I put my left arm on the desk, leaning my head on it while slouching down, waiting for the teacher to enter. Finally, the teacher comes into the room and sets down his lesson plan and materials. All right, class, before we start today, are there any questions you might have, he said. One person raised their hand on the other side of the classroom, Yahiko Totsuka, or better known as Servant Boy or Dog by Arisu. He was a real pain previously, trying to get me to join Katsuragi's faction in the second week, but I declined over and over again until he stopped asking. Sensei, why did we not get the full 100,000 points you said we would get? He stuttered out. I laughed out loud. I could not hold it in. This guy really cannot figure out a single thing. He really is just a dog who barks when he is ordered to. Everyone now has their eyes on me, including Arisu with that smirk. I dislike when she looks at me like that, because I know she is enjoying my amusement. I also look around the class to see another girl named Nishikawa with a look of worry on her face. I met her at the cafe one day while downing coffee cups and had a nice conversation with her, but let us get back to the topic. I do not recall him saying that we would get 100,000 points every month, but I remember him saying we would get 100,000 points last month, I said, holding up my head with a hand and a smug grin on my face. I look over to Arisu and wait for her to say something, since I am not doing all the work here. Fufu, Rimuru-san finally decides to grace us with that genius brain of hers. Have you finally decided that it is a good time to help out the class? Do not push your luck with me, Arisu. The only reason I am helping out is because of our deal, I said begrudgingly, putting my head down, disinterested in the rest of this conversation. The deal we had was that I had to listen and be a good student in class, but I do not always have to help everyone out. She is right. Mashima-sensei decided it was a good time to intervene. This month, the school deemed you were worth 92,000 points based on your merit. People around the classroom looked confused. I sighed, remembering not everyone is as perceptive as Arisu or me. For the people confused about what he means by merit, look at the back of the classroom in the top corner on my side, and you will see a camera. The school used these cameras to judge our merit based on our behavior for the first month, which is why we only got 92,000 points, I said lazily, pointing to the camera. I can hear giggling from my side, and I know exactly who it is. Mashima-sensei then pulled out a chart showing the class points for the class competition. These are the class rankings for this month. In secret, you have been competing in a competition for the last month, and you saved 920 points for the class. You will also be able to earn more class points in the upcoming midterm exams as well. The class rankings read: Class 1A, 920 points. Class 1B, 650 points. Class 1C, 490 points. Class 1D, 50 points. I did not think we would have this much of a lead over Class B, since their whole class is very connected and Akino-san has a vice grip on them with her friendship ideology. Unless there is a troublemaker in that class, there is no way they should be that low. Class C did not surprise me at all, since Ryoan is in that class and regulates their way of living, but what surprised me most was Class D with 50 points. How does a class lose almost all their class points in a single month? This is supposed to be an elite school, not a playground for children. I feel bad for Horikita-san now, since she has a class of defects to deal with, but it should be a good challenge if she decides to change them all with her ability. She still needs to awaken it, though, since her individualistic personality is hindering her progress. Mashima-sensei pulls out another sheet and rolls it out on the board. Mock test results. Rimuru Nova, 100. Arisu Sakayanaji, 96. Kohei Katsuragi, 92. Ai Morishita, 84. Yahiko Totsuka, 60. Of course, people started to look at me when I scored 100, but what did they expect? I tapped on Morishita's shoulder. She turned her head to see my face, and I saw her eyebrow twitch a bit. Wow, I did not expect you to score above 80, since you want to hide your abilities. Impressive, I said to her. She just rolled her eyes and turned back around while I giggled. Yahiko is at the bottom with a 60. A Class A student should not have such a low score. He really is not performing well. The passing score for this mock test was 45%. With each midterm exam, the passing score will vary, Mashima-sensei said. Also, if you go below the passing grade for the midterms, you will be expelled immediately. 1 class point equals 100 private points. Are there any other questions about this topic? He looked around the class and nodded. He picked up his stuff and left the classroom. I guess we are not having class today. No speeches from our class leaders either, I see. Everyone is sitting in class silently like robots, so I am going to head out. I saw some limited time ice cream on sale and I want that, and Sile also asked if she could have some as well. I get up from my seat and shoot a do something about the class while I am gone look toward Arisu, and she just sighs. I head over to Nishikawa's desk and she looks up at me. Coffee tomorrow? If you want to, of course, I said with a soft smile. She nodded as I headed out of the class. Now that class is done, I can finally go get that ice cream. Master, last time you went to the store to buy ice cream, you ate the whole thing in 2 hours while watching a movie. Worst of all, you did not share with me. I felt embarrassed after remembering that. Sorry, Sile, I will share this time, okay? I am surprised you are not gaining weight with the amount of sweets and junk you have been eating. I gasped after hearing Sile say that. Sile, you wound me. Since when did you use such harsh words? It is very unbecoming of you. It is very unbecoming that you, a ruler, munch on sweets and eat like a caveman. Ouch! After grabbing the ice cream, I went back to my dorm and put it in the freezer for later. I took off my school clothes and showered, because I am going to head to the cafe later like usual. This is where I am reminded that my master is unusual. I do not think Sile is happy with me right now. After showering, I got dressed and took the ice cream out, grabbed 2 spoons, sat on the bed, and put on a movie for Sile and me to watch while eating. When I returned to this world, there were a bunch of movies I missed, and I need to watch all of them, since at the Nova estate we were busy working most of the time. 5:30 p.m. It is about time to go to the cafe and grab the coffee I normally get every day. Sile and I finished about half the ice cream and saved the rest for another day. I grabbed my phone and was about to head out, but forgot to turn off a few lights. I was wearing baggy pants and a shirt under a hoodie. Sile looked at me in disbelief because of what I was wearing, since it is supposed to be warm outside, but I think it is comfortable. I head out of my dorm, close the door, and start heading over to the cafe. Once I entered, a few of my classmates waved at me, along with some of the regulars, and I waved back with a smile, taking my seat at the counter. I gave a look to the worker who knows my order, since I have seen all the staff members here and they know who I am. The people who normally come here do not think my presence is suffocating anymore, now they just think I am addicted to coffee. While waiting for my drink, a girl sat down next to me, a girl with long black hair, cold eyes, and a prickly personality. I smiled, not even having to look at her to know who it is. Though I wonder, why did she come here again? Is it to have a drink with me or to talk? Rimuru-sama, you are acting strange again. Stop ruining my mood, Sile. You know how interested I am in her. I want to start the conversation, but I want her to start first. You knew, didn't you, Rimuru-san? Whatever do you mean, Horikita-san? An expression of annoyance appeared on her face when I played dumb, so she also has a short fuse. Do not play dumb with me. You already knew everything about the system this school runs on. The last thing you said to me the last time we met was a warning that I was missing something, she said, looking at me accusingly. I giggled a bit after hearing what she said. How perceptive of you. Yes, my last message was a warning. But unfortunately, you are in a class full of defects, including yourself, I said, pointing at her. It looked like she was about to get mad, but I stopped her by raising my hand. Do not get that twisted, though, Horikita-san. Everyone in this school has a defect, including me. She looked at me in confusion. That is impossible. How could you have a defect, she said. Do you remember that picture of me sleeping in class with headphones on? My defect is my playful personality and unwillingness to help. Her eyes widened. I got my coffee and started drinking. I put my cup down to continue my lesson to her. Defective traits come in many ways: intelligence, athletic ability, destructive personalities, you name it. It looks like she is starting to understand a little better. I put my pointer finger up toward her. And your defect is your individualistic ideology, mistaking isolation from others as independence. What? I sighed, it looks like she needs another push. In this world, you cannot do everything by yourself without help from others. Right now, you are a defective piece that has not become superior. Like a pawn on a chessboard, you can become a better piece. I think she is starting to get it from the look in her eyes. I start to smile smugly. I see, but how could I change my whole class of defects into superior products, she asks me. In her eyes is a fire that wants to learn, which is exactly what I have been looking for. Sile, do you see this? This is why I was interested in her. I see it, Master. Horikita-san, what is your goal in this school? I ask her. I want to reach Class A. Pretty standard, but a good goal if it were possible for her right now. Do you think you could pull it off currently? She looks down. Looks like she can see reality as well, she knows it is impossible at this current moment. Right now you cannot, but that does not mean you never will. You need people to help you reach Class A. But there are some people you cannot control or get help from at all, those who are stronger than you intellectually, those you cannot read, or those whose personalities are too destructive. I grab my coffee and drink the rest of it. I look at the worker, and he understands. I pull out my phone to show her I have been recording this whole conversation. She looks at the phone with confusion as I stop the recording. Give me your number, Horikita-san. I recorded this for you to remember everything I said. You are the type of person to take notes, right? I said to her as she pulled out her phone. She types my number into her phone, and I send her the recording. Call me if you need help like this again, I said, smiling softly at her. Thanks for this, Rimuru-san, but I do not understand. Why are you doing this for me? You are in Class A while I am in Class D. I giggled again at her words. Is it not obvious? I have taken an interest in you and wanted to help you. Why me, though? You have piqued my interest the most out of everyone in this school, Horikita-san, I said with a smile. I finished my second cup of coffee and looked at the waiter again, and he just sighed. You should calm down on the coffee, Rimuru-san. I still do not understand why you drink all that coffee if it does not keep you awake. I laughed at her comment. So, how did your class do on the mock test? I asked her, trying to make small talk. 8 people failed the mock test. I almost choked on my drink after hearing that. There is no way 8 people could fail junior high school level questions on that quiz. I looked at her with disbelief, and she just nodded. Wow. It looks like you have a lot of work to do then, Horikita-san, I say, getting up from my seat and paying my tab for the coffee I drank. Until next time. Thanks for your help again, Rimuru-san. It was my pleasure, I said while walking away and exiting the cafe. Chapter 8, Midterms, Part 1. Third-person POV. After the exposure of the S system, Class 1D went into a frenzy because they had lost almost all of their class points. Some students began selling items to other people, while others tried borrowing private points. Right now, Class 1D is at the pool where they are having fun splashing water on each other, with various sights catching the boy's eye. But one boy is currently sitting on the edge of the pool, curled up like a ball, Kiyotaka Ayanokoji. I have utterly failed at making friends, he thought. Since the start of this school, everyone has broken up into their own cliques and groups, and I have failed to join any of them. Ayanokoji sighed. What are you sighing about over here? A girl with long black hair said while looking at the gloomy boy. I am having an internal debate on whether I failed at making friends. She sighed after hearing that and sat down on the tile next to him. I do not understand how our class can just sit here and not think about the fact that we have 50 class points. You would think they would look dead after hearing that, the black-haired girl said. Maybe that is how they cope with it, Ayanokoji said. You are probably right about that, she replied. They have a free period, so I guess why would they not use it to have fun while they still can, he pointed out. They act like a bunch of children, but I cannot really blame them for doing so. Under the S system, however, this behavior will make our class crumble to the ground, she said. But are we not just like them? Maybe. And now with the S system revealed, we have to scramble to get any class points possible in the midterms. If we do not, our class will be completely screwed, he said in a flat tone. He looked over to see Suzune Horikita in a state of frustration, a look he did not expect to see on her normally cold face. Over these past few days, I have noticed Horikita's demeanor change after the S system was revealed. I do not know what happened to her, but it has been harder to read her because of it. It is like 2 conflicting ideologies are crashing together in her head, and she is stuck right in the middle, he monologued. She turned to the brown-haired boy and looked surprised at his physical build. Hey, do you play sports or something? She asked. No, I did not do any extracurricular activities back in junior high, he said. That is impossible. Your body is so muscular, I thought you must have done something. Hey, Horikita! Do you want to swim with us? A beige-haired girl called out. I have to refuse. Ayanokoji raised an eyebrow at that statement. It was not as sharp as her normal remarks, nor was it as rude as most of them. He had been analyzing her for about a month and figured her personality was that of a cold, loner-type girl, but for some reason she was changing. Oh, are you a bad swimmer, Horikita-san? I am an average swimmer. I used to be very bad at swimming, but then I practiced a lot, and now I think I am pretty good at it, said the beige-haired girl, whose name is Kikyo Kushida. Okay, Horikita said, getting up and walking away from them. She is very aloof, Ayanokoji said. I wish I could get along with her better. I saw her sitting next to a girl and talking to her on the day of the S system reveal, Kushida said. Oh? Who was it? Ainakoji asked with genuine curiosity. Rimuru Nova. Ainakoji's eyes widened after hearing that name. He still had not forgotten what happened 5 years ago at the party where he tied with her. He knew she was enrolled here, but from what he could gather, he assumed Rimuru would not care at all about this school's competitions and would be just like him. While Ainakoji was lost in his thoughts, the class hothead, Ken Sudo, was leaving after declaring he had nothing to do with class affairs. Across the room, Horikita could be seen clenching her fist. Is this what Rimuru meant? That there are some people you cannot control? No, that is not it. She meant that there are others with capabilities that surpass mine, or others with dysfunctional personalities that do more harm than good. Sudo would be a perfect weapon if we had a sports-related evaluation, a place where he could become a superior product instead of a defect. Rimuru's lesson on defects was very confusing to understand, but I think she made it that way for me to figure something out, Horikita monologued, trying to analyze Rimuru's lesson. Meanwhile, Monobu Horikita was looking out of his window at the swimming pool where Class 1D was gathered. Class 1D again, hey, he said, closing the blinds and readjusting his glasses before turning back toward the people in his office. Standing by his side was his secretary, Akane Tochibana. You two are from Class 1A, right? Sakayanaji, Katsuragi. Your class received a total of 920 points this month, which is quite a feat though. I wonder, where is Rimuru Nova? I am surprised I do not see her among you. Anyway, let us get down to business. How much do you know about the S system? Arisu Sakayanaji giggled softly at the mention of Rimuru. As for Rimuru, she said she did not want to come, slept on her desk, and stayed behind. We cannot control her, and I am sure there is no one in this school who can, she said with a faint smile, while the student council president deadpanned at the explanation. I have heard her behavior was a bit problematic for the first couple of weeks until she suddenly started paying attention in class. Did one of you have something to do with that? He asked inquisitively. Yes, I had to make a deal with her to get her to cooperate in class, Arisu said. A deal, you say? And that was enough to convince her? From what I know about her, she is very stubborn and lazy, though she is not afraid to use her abilities, the president said. The deal was more like a sacrifice. In order to gain any control over her actions, you have to sacrifice a lot. I cannot get into the details of the agreement. A sacrifice, I see. Your class possesses the ultimate weapon to win every competition. But how much do you know about the S system? Arisu smirked at his question. Rimuru came up with a theory and is absolutely sure it is correct. In this school, there are other ways to obtain class points besides the midterms, a little something called special exams that test a student's capabilities in areas outside of academics. The president and his secretary widened their eyes. She was able to deduce that much in such a short span of time after the class points were revealed. Seeing their reactions, Arisu smirked, knowing Rimuru's theory was now confirmed to be true. I see. Thank you for your time, Class 1A representatives. You may go, the president said as they stood up to leave. Once they left, the president stood there silently. President Horikita. Tochibana said, breaking the silence. Rimuru Nova already knows that much about the S system? Rimuru POV. I sat in my desk chair trying to figure out what to do about my boredom. Midterms are right around the corner, and every academically challenged student is on edge. Most classes have formed study groups to combat the problem. Arisu left earlier for the student council office because the president summoned them, and me as well. But I did not feel like going, so I just slept on my desk and told Arisu to say I was asleep. She never came back after that. I guess I can just go to Palette again. I already go there every day anyway, so why not make an early stop? Geez, master. You need to stop drinking so much of that junk when you know it does not work on your body. Sile is probably right, but I want coffee now simply because I thought about it. I can quit anytime I want anyway. That is what they all say. While on the way to Palette, I ran past a few people who laughed and said, "Rimuru, going for more coffee?" I said yes, and they just laughed even harder. I guess everyone in the school knows I am a coffee addict now. Once I entered Palette, people looked up, and some waved at me. I waved back, took a seat at a large table near the window instead of my normal spot, and waited for my usual coffee to be brought over. The sun was pretty bright today and felt nice on my skin. I put my head down, letting the sunlight warm me up, when suddenly I felt a tap on my right shoulder. I lifted my head to see four girls, one of them with strawberry-colored hair. I recognize her now, I think. If I recall correctly, this is Hanami Akinos from Class 1B. Arisu called her the fan service girl, but I do not really get it. She has an aura of natural warmth, like you are automatically drawn to her. She is a bit naive from what I have heard from others, but I will reserve my judgment now that she is here in front of me. She brought friends along, though I do not know them yet. To what do I owe the pleasure? I said with a smirk. I looked at the girl in the back who was hiding behind Akinos, looking as if she were scared of me or something. But when I looked into her eyes, I could see jealousy in them. Wait, jealousy? Oh, I guess this girl has a crush on Akinos? I might be wrong about that. We were just looking for a table, but we saw you over here all alone and wondered if we could sit with you instead, Akinos said with a bright smile. I see now why everyone is friends with her. That smile is deadly and draws people right in. That trait of hers could easily be used as a weapon for manipulation. Sure, I do not mind. Have a seat if you want, but you need to introduce yourselves first, I said. I am Hanami Akinos from Class 1B, she said, sitting next to me. I looked at the timid girl, who immediately tried to cover herself up. I sighed at her reaction. Your name is Chihiro Shiranami, Class 1B, very timid, but nice. I leaned over, put my mouth right next to her ear, and whispered, you also have a crush on Akinos. She froze completely upon hearing that. I giggled at her reaction and looked at the next girl. I am Mako Amikura. Class 1B, she said excitedly, practically jumping into her seat. You are extremely hyper, I said with a soft laugh, and she giggled back. I am Seo Ando from Class 1B, and I play volleyball, she said with a warm smile. I am Rimuru Nova from Class 1A, and I am a coffee addict. Also, please call me by my first name. Amikura-san laughed a bit at that before speaking up. Yeah, there was a rumor going around about how you drink 5 to 6 cups of coffee a day at Palette. Someone even recorded a video of you doing that with another girl sitting beside you. I am pretty much a regular at this point, so that story tracks, I said, laughing softly. The reason Rimuru can drink so much coffee is because of Sile's influence. You are nothing like they say you are, Rimuru-san, Akinos spoke up as I turned to her. People said you had a very suffocating presence and all these other intimidating traits, but looking at you now, I feel like I am just looking at a normal girl, she said with a smile, just as my coffee arrived. I put the cup down to respond to her statement. I am just like any normal person. I am sure you have seen the prank video and that picture of me with my head down on the desk wearing headphones. That is who I really am, lazy and laid back, I guess, I said with a soft smile. This is my first time exploring the outside world, so I am going to make good use of my 3 years here. Their eyes widened when they heard that. You have never been outside your house, they all shouted, practically getting right in my face. I sighed and took another sip of my coffee. You have never been shopping before coming here, Rimuru-san? Akinos asked, still in shock. Yes, Akinos-san. I had never been shopping before coming here, but I have already bought some clothes here, getting everything I thought looked cool, I told her while finishing my first cup. For some reason, Amikura-san had a smug grin on her face. Rimuru-san, have you taken any pictures of yourself wearing those clothes? If so, can we see? It was a slightly strange question, but I figured I could oblige. I pulled out my phone and showed her a picture of me in baggy sweatpants and a hoodie. It was cold in my room that night. After showing them, I handed my empty cup to the waiter, who brought me a fresh one. "Whoa! You look really good even in baggy clothes, Rimuru-san." Amikura marveled at my extremely plain outfit. It actually embarrassed me a little to get a compliment on my clothing. I think my ego went up a bit. "You think so?" I asked. "Yeah. You have a mysterious aura in that selfie, like you are about to do something mischievous." I widened my eyes. This girl really knows how to flatter someone. On the outside, I was a bit embarrassed, but on the inside, I was pumping my fist in celebration. "Master, your clothing choices are bland. If it were not for Shuna, you would never wear those nice clothes. TCH, do not ruin the moment, Sile. Notice, I am simply stating the truth." "Whatever? Enough about me. Ikino-san, are you possibly acquainted with Arisu? I heard you two met up one day." Her eyes lit up upon hearing that, and she turned toward me. "She did meet up with me one day. She talked about you a lot, but she expressed disappointment that you did not want to participate in class," she said, watching my reaction closely. I sighed. Arisu really is blunt with her words. That statement is true. I do not want to participate in class, and Arisu is my very first friend here. I glanced down at my phone to check the time. 6:30 p.m. I should probably get going now that I think about it. I should get going now. It was nice talking to you all. "See you another time," I said, waving goodbye as I paid my tab for the coffee. Third-person POV. A few days passed, and some of the first-year classes formed study groups to help students who were struggling academically, Class 1D being one of them. Over in the library, Rimuru was browsing the shelves for something good to read for a few hours, having grown bored of sitting in her dorm doing nothing. Bang! A desk slammed loudly. Rimuru jumped, and a few books fell off the shelf onto her face. What on earth was that? Do people not know what it means to be quiet in a library? Rimuru thought, picking up the fallen books and returning them to the shelf. I am out of here. I am wasting my time studying when I should be practicing basketball to go pro. Pseudo yelled angrily. You? Going pro? Do you have the slightest idea how difficult that is? With an attitude like yours, there is no way that will ever happen, Horikita said scathingly. What did you say about me? Pseudo lunged forward to grab her by the collar, but a hand suddenly reached out and stopped him, shocking everyone present. That is enough. An overwhelming presence suddenly radiated over the table. Horikita looked up to see Rimuru standing there, which surprised her greatly. Rimuru, what are you doing here? The normally cold Horikita showed clear emotion now that Rimuru had stepped in to help her out. Off to the side, Kushida was equally surprised to see Horikita react like that. Rimuru sighed and pushed Pseudo's hand back toward him, causing him to stumble back into his seat. I thought you would have already understood that, Horikita-san. Rimuru then looked toward Pseudo with a cold glint in her eyes. Look, I get that Horikita-san has a harsh attitude with most people, but that does not mean you need to lash out in a library where you are supposed to be quiet. Do you have any respect for the place you are in? Rimuru berated him for acting out, prompting Pseudo and his group to leave shortly after. She turned back to Horikita. Horikita-san, sometimes you have to understand that people learn in different ways and at different paces. This is where you need to compromise for others, Rimuru said softly. Horikita looked down, lost in thought once again. Looking past Horikita, Rimuru spotted a boy with completely dead, emotionless eyes. Who is that again? He looks familiar, but I cannot quite place him, Rimuru thought, looking back down at Horikita. Rimuru sighed at the sight of Horikita's intense contemplation. Leaning forward, she whispered, if you need help, you can ask me, you know. But the message I gave you at Palette should be your first priority, it holds the key to the answer you have been looking for. Leaning back up, Rimuru turned and began walking away from the group. Wait! Kushida called out to the sky-haired girl, but Rimuru did not turn around, simply waving a hand back at her as she walked off, leaving Kushida looking disappointed. "It is no use, Kushida," Horikita said. Kushida turned to her in confusion. "What do you mean, Horikita-san? If you are trying to become friends with her, good luck. She does not give her number to those she does not respect or acknowledge." "Do you have her number then?" "Yes, I do." "Can I have it?" "No." Horikita sighed, stood up from the table, packed up her books and study materials, and walked away. Ainakoji and Kushida sat there in silence. "Well, this did not work out as we intended, and we even had a special guest make an appearance," Ainakoji said. "Just leave Sudo and the rest of them to me, Ainakoji-kun," Kushida said before walking away. Ainakoji sat there in silence once again, deep in thought. "If our class wants to make it to Class A, we have to defeat Rimuru Nova. But I doubt she is actually actively helping her class. From what I have gathered, she refuses to help them most of the time and only steps in when she feels it is necessary. And then there is her connection with Horikita. I am fairly certain Rimuru is trying to instill her with the knowledge required to reach the higher classes." Ainakoji tried to figure out what Rimuru's true intentions were, but eventually gave up and headed back to his dorm. Chapter 9, Midterms, Part 2. Rimuru POV. After the incident in the library with Horikita-san, the past few days have been devoid of anything interesting besides the arguments between our two internal factions, which have unfortunately split our class dynamic even further. I have also now been acknowledged as the class's ultimate weapon by Arisu, which I really do not understand. I said I was not going to help the class, as I am far more interested in the prickly girl from Class 1D right now than anything else. I am not worried about the midterms since I know I can easily ace them, but I am more concerned about class morale. I managed to gather more information regarding some of the people in our class factions from Nishikawa-san, and things are not looking good. My theory on the special exams is about 90% confirmed, thanks to what Arisu told me regarding the student council president's reaction to my idea. If such an exam comes up, then one of those two faction leaders will have to lead the class. That does not sound too bad, except for the fact that 18 to 20 people in the class will refuse to agree with whichever plan is presented. This internal battle in our class is entirely about influence, and once one faction gets drowned out, it is game over. That is probably going to be the main hurdle during special exams for Class 1A, even though we hold an overwhelming lead over the other classes. Fufu, Rimuru-chan, are you thinking about something again? Arisu normally uses formal honorifics, but lately she has started changing the way she speaks to me, adopting this teasing, unpredictable manner. It is a bit more comfortable than before, but it takes time to get used to such changes. Yes, I am thinking about something again, Arisu. It is nothing concerning at all, I said to her dismissively. You are not a very good liar, you know, she said, leaning across the table where we were sitting. Damn it. Why do I lack that bluffing skill everyone else seems to have? I sighed in surrender and looked up at her. It is really nothing important. I am just dissatisfied with the way the class is operating. Our class morale is terrible right now because of this faction war. While I could do something about it, I will not, because I am not the one leading right now. I am simply not interested in this boring conflict, I said distastefully. I would end it if I could, but no good opportunities have arisen yet, Rimuru-chan. So be patient for my sake, she said with a smug smile. I softened my gaze and stopped dwelling on that, turning my thoughts toward what I should do next. You should head out now, Arisu. It is getting late anyway. Fufu, kicking me out already? Are you possibly hiding something from me? It is possible, but I suggest you do not try to find out, since it is none of your business. Of course. I will go along with that suggestion then, for now, at least Tilda. I sighed after she left. Arisu is quite a handful when it comes to her capabilities. There are only a few people in this school who can match her intellectual skills, such as myself and probably the student council president. Horikita-san has a lot of potential to become a good leader for her class, but she has a massive amount of work ahead of her. I eventually stepped out of my dorm room as well to get some fresh air and went down to the vending machines to grab a drink. On my way, I spotted something interesting happening. A boy appeared to be following someone toward a back alley. It was the boy from the library, the one with virtually no presence at all. He gives off this strangely familiar feeling, like I have met him somewhere before. I kept walking behind him, and he did not notice my presence at all despite my close proximity. Currently, he is just standing there watching something, but I cannot hear what is being said because I have my headphones in. Suddenly, he moved at an incredibly high speed for a normal human. I stopped and took off my headphones to get my drink from the machine. I tapped my phone on the sensor to scan my purchase, but the machine jammed. Veldanava, I am going to kill you for this. Stopping me from getting my black tea is going to cost you. I gave the vending machine a light kick, and the bottle finally dropped out. I then walked over to where the boy with no presence was standing. Both people over there looked at me in a bit of shock, as if I had startled them. But as I analyzed the two figures more closely, I realized who I was looking at, the student council president and his younger sister. Now this situation just took away all my boredom and replaced it with excitement. What a meeting! The student council president and his little sister. Horikita-san, I thought you would be fast asleep by now, especially with midterms right around the corner, I said playfully, before turning my head toward the president with genuine interest. I still do not know much about him, but from what I have gathered, he is praised as the best student council president in the history of this school because of the changes he has implemented. Rimuru. Was that you at the vending machine? Wait, why are you here right now? Horikita-san asked, firing off questions so fast my brain felt fried. Too many questions, I said, and she calmed down. I came out to get a late-night drink. The vending machine jammed, so I kicked it lightly to get the bottle out, tilde. And then I saw you too when I walked over. Suzune, it seems you have made some friends, and they are both quite interesting, President Horikita remarked. They both possess unique entrance exam scores, with Rimuru Nova scoring 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100, while the other scored straight 50s across all 5 subjects. Horikita-san looked shocked by that revelation. Quite the coincidence, is it not? Both the president and the boy said simultaneously, looking at each other. Rimuru is the only one I can really call a friend. She helps me a lot for some reason, and I do not understand why at all. We are in different classes, we should be enemies. I giggled at her statement and scooted closer to her. I thought I already told you why, but you still do not understand for some reason. It makes my heart break in half, I said dramatically, clutching my chest. She just stared at me as if I were insane. Nova-san, why did you not attend the meeting with Sakayanagi-san and Katsuragi-kun 3 days ago? The president asked me. Horikita-san stared at me with utter disbelief, as if I had committed a crime punishable by death. Arisu told me she informed you I was asleep, which was accurate. But I do not understand why I needed to attend since I am not a class leader. Besides, whenever those two are in the same room, the atmosphere feels suffocating because of the ongoing faction war, I explained to him. It is honestly sad how childish this Cold War is between them. They should have just picked a leader from the start through some kind of contest, like using the mock exam scores. But I digress, I added with a hint of disappointment. I see. Well, in any case, you will have to make up for missing that meeting eventually, he said, turning and walking away toward the third-year dormitories. The rest of us walked back over toward the vending machine. Horikita-san and I took a seat while the gloomy boy bought drinks for himself and Horikita-san. Is what my brother said really true? About your entrance exam scores, she asked out loud. I sighed and gently patted her head, which embarrassed her so much she slapped my hand away. Aggressive behavior this late at night. I teased. Do not touch me. It is embarrassing. You are treating me like a child, Rimuru. Now answer my question. I giggled at her reaction and stared off into space. Meanwhile, the boy handed Horikita-san her drink. I now know for a fact that he is anything but normal. Those entrance exam scores prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Do not dwell on stupid questions that mean absolutely nothing even if answered. You should be focusing on the midterms. Your class is in the most danger. I leaned in closer to her. I am far more interested in how you plan to save them, Susan. I stood up to leave, but she suddenly grabbed my arm and pulled me right back down to the bench. She was surprisingly strong. I had assumed she was purely an all-brains type, but I was wrong again. You are dropping hints again, are you not? You asked how I am going to save them. What does that mean, Rimuru? Give me a clear answer, she demanded in a cold tone. I looked at her with a bit of shock, then smiled softly. My expression caused her to drop her guard slightly, and I yanked my arm out of her grip. Why would I give you the answer to your question when you are supposed to figure it out yourself? That is how you learn and grow stronger, dummy, I said, flicking her forehead before walking away. Ouch! Wait, Rimuru, come back. I heard her call out, but I ignored her this time. I am far more interested in seeing what unfolds during the upcoming midterms. Third-person POV. Horikita sat there on the bench, staring in the direction where Rimuru had vanished. She looked down at the ground, processing everything the sky-haired girl had told her. She really is putting you through a lot of work, is she not? Ayanokoji remarked. She looked up at him with a cold glare. You are not off the hook either, Ayanokoji-kun. Your test scores. How did you pull that off? And do not lie to me. It is as I said, a coincidence, Ayanokoji replied flatly, turning and leaving her alone in the dark to contemplate everything. Damn it, Rimuru. You are always so secretive with your words and never lay out the full picture, Horikita thought. I do not understand why you are so fixated on me, though I appreciate the guidance. Still, I am confused by what you meant by saving my class. Has she been collecting information on the students in Class 1D as well? I thought she refused to get involved in school affairs, which was confirmed when she skipped the meeting with Nii-san. Unless everything she has done up until now has been a test for me. Horikita remembered that midterms were rapidly approaching and that she needed to get some sleep, just as Rimuru had advised. She stood up from the bench and headed back to her room. Meanwhile, Rimuru was standing on her dorm balcony, leaning against the railing and letting the cool night breeze brush against her face while sipping a cup of water. Let us see what she will do. Right, Sile. Rimuru said softly, glancing back into the room where Sile was hovering in the background. Rimuru POV. I am currently sitting in class reviewing the midterm results, and I am utterly disappointed by the fact that Class 1A achieved an overall average of only 84%. I scored a perfect 100 on every subject, and Arisu was not far behind with exceptionally high marks. We were promised a luxury vacation on a cruise ship bought out by the school if we managed to pass all our exams leading up to summer break. When I heard this announcement, I glanced over at Arisu and saw her wearing that trademark smug smirk. I guess she has already figured out how to use this opportunity to strike at Katsuragi's influence over the class. The vacation is almost certainly a facade to mask an upcoming special exam for all of us. Arisu and I walked out of the classroom to check the official bulletin board where class points are posted, and Katsuragi followed us as well. When I looked at the board, I was surprised to see that Class 1D had gained the most points out of all 4 classes. I giggled softly at the results, causing the other 2 to look at me in confusion. The class standings read: Class 1A are 954 points, plus 34. Class 1B, 663 points, plus 13. Class 1C, 492 points, plus 2. Class 1D, 137 points, plus 87. Class 1D's score was proof that even a class of defects can overcome massive challenges with the right strategies. I saw Arisu sigh at the sight of the standings. Do you not find this all terribly boring? She asked coldly to no one in particular. I was not pleased with that comment. I do not. It is unfortunate that you have not found the entertainment this school has to offer yet, but I certainly have. Someone from another class has caught my interest, and I do not plan on letting go. I pointed directly at the bulletin board where the point totals were displayed. Someone caught your interest, Rimuru? Arisu asked, genuine shock appearing on her face. I am not entirely sure why she is so shocked. While I am still interested in Arisu Sakayanaji, I am currently far more intrigued by Suzun Horikita. Yes, someone did. And I plan on helping that person unlock their full potential to place a brand new piece on the board and let them go wild, a new Joker card in play for this school. They have already improved a little, and the proof is right here on this board. It brings me immense joy to see this, I said, practically glowing with pride. I feel like I might be turning into Diablo with the amount of praise I am lavishing on Suzun. I am a bit shocked, but now even more curious about the person who managed to capture your lazy attention, Rimuru. Why do you not tell us their name? She asked, stepping back toward me. I cannot do that, Arisu. That person is someone I consider a friend, so I will not drop their name for free, I said, walking past her. She immediately fell into step beside me, following me wherever I went. So where are we going, Rimuru? You still have not told me who you are so interested in that you would drop your lazy act, she pressed as we entered the elevator. I pressed the button for the 9th floor. She rode up with me, and even after we stepped out, she stood right beside me as I unlocked my dorm room. She strolled right inside, so I set my school bag down, changed out of my uniform, and hopped into bed. She grabbed the chair from my desk and pulled it up beside my bed. Why did you follow me all the way in here, Arisu? I asked while lying down. I plan on going to Palette later to get coffee anyway, since I have not had any in days due to Sile blocking my path. You said you would not give out the name for free, so what is the price to acquire it? Anyone who has caught your eye must be fascinating, she said. I know what I would want from her, but I fear she cannot provide it due to her congenital heart condition. If there were a way to heal her without getting exposed as some kind of supernatural entity, I would try it in a heartbeat. Master, you know I could heal her if you desired. I would simply need to repair her heart's defect or synthesize a replacement. Her physical body is currently unaccustomed to normal cardiovascular strain, which accounts for her weakness. So it is technically possible, but tricky to execute discreetly, huh? Do not worry about it, Arisu. I will tell you in due time. For now, be patient with me and I will eventually reveal it, okay? Can you set my alarm for 7 o'clock? I am taking a nap. Very well. Later that evening, it was finally time for Palette. Coffee, my beloved, here I come. I threw on what was objectively the worst summer outfit known to humanity and headed out toward the elevator. But as soon as I stepped out, someone grabbed the back of my hoodie and dragged me right back inside. Is this not considered kidnapping, Suzun-san? Why are you still holding on to me as we go to your floor? I asked, looking up at her. I was genuinely surprised by her physical strength once again. It is a shame this girl was not placed in Class 1A, though the reason for her placement in Class 1D is obvious, her inability to cooperate with others and her rigid individualism. You are coming with me whether you like it or not. And I am holding on to you to keep you from running away. I raised both hands in surrender to show her I was not going to bolt. There is nowhere to run anyway, but I am far more curious as to why you are dragging me around. We stepped out of the elevator onto her floor. I noticed a girl standing outside in the hallway looking at us, and I gave her a polite wave. How embarrassing. My beloved coffee at Palette was drifting further away, and I was stuck with this demon instead. I was shoved into her room and tumbled straight onto her bed while she walked over to the kitchen area. Water or tea? She asked. You kidnapped me and threw me onto your bed after I took my shoes off to go get coffee, and now you are asking if I want water or tea. She just stared at me blankly, waiting for an answer. Tea. Looking around her room, I noticed there was absolutely nothing interesting in terms of decor. I was not surprised, as I did not picture her as the type to buy decorative accessories. She finished brewing the tea, and we sat down at her small dining table. You knew, did you not? You knew that someone in our class was on the verge of failing the midterm. That is what you meant by saving the class. So she figured it out. She must have expended a massive amount of private points to save that person from expulsion. This whole situation was a test to see if she realized that private points could purchase anything at this school, and she successfully proved that she understands the value of keeping a potentially useful classmate around. I smiled proudly at her, looking like a mother whose child had just aced an important exam. It looks like you figured out what I meant by saving the class. Your class also achieved the highest point gain from this midterm. Congratulations. Though you must be virtually broke right now. Her expression stiffened slightly. Unfortunately, I am nearly out of points, but I will manage. So, what is next on your agenda, Susan-san? Your class scored higher than anyone else this time, beating out even Class 1A. I do not know yet. But I certainly know that I should not be discussing my class's internal affairs with a student from another class, correct? She stared at me with searching eyes. I do not see the problem, but you should know that you cannot hide anything from me anyway. I will always find out eventually, I said, leaning in playfully. I stood up from the table, walked back over, and collapsed onto her bed, waiting for her to finish washing the teacups. I was getting so tired. I had not gotten the coffee I desperately needed today to stay alert. Master has officially fallen into a severe coffee addiction and now relies on caffeine to function. How foolish, she seems to have forgotten that her physical form is currently human and cannot simply process endless amounts of chemicals without consequences.